Here is the world news at this time on television Nigerian. I am Charles Ibe. U.S. President Donald Trump on Monday threatened to permanently halt funding for the World Health Organization and to reconsider U.S. membership of the agency if it did not commit to improvements within 30 days. The U.S. leader suspended his country's contributions to the World Health Leading Organization last month, accusing it of promoting Chinese disinformation about the novel coronavirus outbreak, an accusation the organization has denied, with China insisting it has been transparent and open. Trump made his position known in a letter he sent to the Health Organization Chief Tedros Ghebreyesus, which he also shared on his official Twitter handle. Earlier, Trump said Geneva-based World Health Organization had done a very bad job in its handling of the coronavirus, which emerged in China late last year, and asked the world body to demonstrate its independence from China as a way forward. China hit back on Tuesday with its foreign ministry spokesman, Zhao Lijian, saying Trump's letter was slanderous and filled with phrases of suggestions, maybes, and potentialities, and further accused Trump of trying to mislead the public in order to achieve the goal of smearing and slandering China's effort in epidemic prevention. Around half of Chile's 50-member Senate and 4 ministers has been placed in quarantine after coming into contact with at least 3 colleagues infected with the novel coronavirus, as jobless protesters in poor area of Santiago clashed with police to demand food aid. Chile's Finance Minister Ignacio Briones and Chief of Staff Felipe Ward both wrote on Twitter that they had tested negative for the virus, but were in quarantine until a second test is conducted. Briones said he was tested on Friday due to his regular contact with infected Senator Jorge Pizarro on the Senate's Finance Committee and had since begun preventive quarantine. At the end of last week, about 20 Chilean legislators began isolation after meeting with Pizarro and other infected senators, while Chile recorded a 60% spike in daily coronavirus cases last Wednesday, despite a month and a half of preventive measures, including a selective lockdown around the country. Anti-lockdown protesters have demonstrated across Europe, voicing their dissatisfaction with government measures intended to stop the spread of COVID-19, as many European unions closed schools and businesses and asked people to remain largely in their homes. Thousands of people took to the streets in Germany, even though the country had recently eased its lockdown measures, as authorities in Munich said over 1,000 people gathered, while over 5,000 demonstrators also gathered in Stuttgart. In the Polish capital of Warsaw, police used tear gas against demonstrators and claimed the protest was illegal because it was not approved in advance, while dozens of people, including a senator, were reportedly detained. In Britain, despite lockdown measures having been slightly relaxed last week, about 50 people gathered in London's Hyde Park on Saturday as a part of sparsely attended nationwide protest, where about 19 people were arrested by London's Metropolitan Police. The Zambian authorities have closed a Chinese restaurant in the capital Lusaka for reportedly discriminating against locals. The restaurant was reported to have denied entry to a Zambian man, terming him as a foreigner, a move the man described as racist. Lusaka Mayor Maya Sampa has also accused the restaurant of selling products labeled in Chinese and not English as prescribed by law. In sports, former Inter Milan's president Massimo Moratti said Lionel Messi will not leave Barcelona following reports linking the star to the Serie A club Inter Milan. Superstar Lionel Messi, Barca's frontliner, is contracted to the La Liga champions until 2021, but his future is far from certain at Camp Nou, where he has reportedly crashed with board members this season. Inter Milan forward Martinez has been tipped to link up with Argentine teammate Messi at Barcelona, while also being linked to Spanish giants Real Madrid and Premier League powerhouse Manchester City. We take a break now. The rest of the news continues thereafter. Join us again.
Coronavirus no be our friend, yo, yo, yo. Make we push am come out, yo. Corona, he no be our friend. Yo, yo, yo. Say make we push am come out, yo. My country people, you see this coronavirus, no be joke. Make we help ourselves and our government pursue this yamayama sickness from our country. Make we remember to wash our hand every time with soap and water. Make we no forget to sanitize our hand and wear face mask when we dey come out. Also, make we avoid crowd and keep social distancing when we come out. My people, if you see say you don't dey get symptoms, make you rush go hospital make dem treat you. Coronavirus no be our friend though. Make we remember say prevention better pass cure.
Coronavirus no be our friend oh. Make we push am comot yo. Corona, it no be our friend. Say make we push am comot yo.
Thanks for staying tuned, and in case you're just joining us, this is the World News on Television Nigerian. I am for the rest of the news. French President Emmanuel Macron narrowly lost his absolute majority in the lower house of parliament on Tuesday with the defection of 7 members of parliament from his party, La République En Marche. The new group called Ecology, Democracy, Solidarity plans to advocate for social and environmental justice and will be the 9th in France's lower house of parliament, and will side neither with the majority nor the opposition in parliament, but rather vote depending on the issues, according to the group's political statement. Since the Yellow Jacket movement protest, there has been growing discontent among some members of Le Ren's left wing, who said the president's party that was meant to break the traditional left-wing divide ended up being more center-right than left. Farmers in China are now being offered cash to quit breeding exotic animals, as China's wet market are suspected to be the origin of coronavirus outbreak. The pressure on the Chinese markets has been growing to crack down on the illegal wildlife trade, with the authorities pledging to buy out breeders in an attempt to curb the practice. China has already banned the sale of wild animals for food in recent months, as authorities have cited the risk of the disease spreading to humans, while several countries have also believed that the deadly virus passed from bats to people before spreading worldwide. On the local scene, the chairman of the Presidential Task Force on COVID-19 and Secretary to the Government of the Federation, Boss Mustafa, said 9 local government areas in the country accounted for 51% of total number of COVID-19 infections in the country. Mustafa, who addressed the press at the Presidential Task Force on COVID-19 briefings on Monday, stated that the task force in its activities identified 9 densely populated local government areas in the Federation, reporting high number of cases and accounting for 51% of the total number of infections in the country. He also noted that the healthcare system had since been better equipped to detect, test, isolate, and treat every case, and trace every person who came in contact with a positive case. Mustafa further stated that in the next phase, communities would take ownership of the COVID-19 fight, adding that infrastructure and other public health measures will be provided in every community in the country. The police in Osun State has arrested a middle-aged woman identified as Iyayo, who tied up her son in sacks and locked him up in a wardrobe for 4 days in the Fesojaye community, Owode Osogbo local government area of Osun State. The woman reportedly subjected the 10-year-old boy to punishment for constantly stealing and being possessed by an evil spirit. The boy, who was however rescued when a neighbor heard him crying for help, drew the attention of residents of the area to the house where he was kept. The culprit has since been in police custody and has confessed that she tied the boy in 3 sacks and kept him in the wardrobe since Thursday because he was wayward and used to steal, while the police are still investigating the matter. The Nigerian Supreme Council for Islamic Affairs, in a statement by its Deputy Secretary General, Professor Salisu Shehu, on Monday in Abuja, has urged Muslims across the country to look out for the new Islamic moon of Shawwal from Friday, May 22nd. The Muslims' umbrella body felicitated with Nigerian Muslims for observing the Ramadan and prayed to Almighty Allah to avail them the opportunity to witness another Ramadan in good health. The council enjoined Muslim faithfuls across the country to be on the lookout for possible announcements by the council's President General, Alhaji Mohammed Saad Abubakar, on the termination of the 2020 Ramadan fast and reminded the Ummah of the necessity of paying Zakatul Fitri with the intention of lifting the hearts of the indigent members of the community. The Senate on Tuesday commended President Muhammadu Buhari for his recent directive to launch a military offensive against bandits in Katsina State. The commendation came against the backdrop of a motion considered on the floor on the need to integrate adjoining states of Niger, Zamfara, Kaduna, Kebbi, and Sokoto states in the military's operation to sweep bandits and kidnappers out of the region. The motion was sponsored by Senator Aliyu Sabi Abdullahi, who recalled that the Senate had last week Tuesday considered two separate motions on the need for the federal government to immediately address the growing spate of banditry in Niger and Katsina states respectively. The Senate, in its resolutions, accordingly appealed to President Buhari to expand the scope of the operation to include Zamfara, Kaduna, Niger, and Sokoto states, and any other surrounding areas of the states that the armed bandits might want to seek safe haven following the massive operation, and also called on the military formations and the Nigerian police to increase their surveillance operations to track movements by these armed bandits to prevent them accessing any safe haven in the region. The Nigerian Football Federation on Tuesday stated that Super Eagles coach Gernot Rohr will sign a new contract next week after agreeing on terms to extend his 4-year stay with the Eagles. The Nigerian Football Federation said in a statement in Abuja, revealed that the executive committee had mandated the General Secretary to liaise with the Super Eagles technical advisor, Gernot Rohr, with a view to concluding all matters around his contract with the next 1 week. The 66-year-old Franco-German coach has been in charge of the three-time African champions since 2016, while the new 2-year contract will see him lead Nigeria to qualifications for a 7th World Cup finals and the 2021 Africa Cup of Nations in Cameroon. And that's the Global News Update at this time. Many thanks for watching. I am Charles Ibe.